pretty tough week results-wise for
Yeah.
the team. Big stretch. You have a tough game coming up. Just wondering where the team is right now. Mentally, how you doing? How you planning to bounce back from this, and sort of how the week of training has been.
Yeah, I think. Obviously at the beginning of the week, we're disappointed. We have high expectations at this club, and from all of us, I just don't think it's been good enough, and we're aware of that, which is the most important thing. We've had a lot of hard conversations but good conversations, and we know that we owe it to the fans, we owe it to the ownership, because they've been great so far. We owe it to them to bounce back, and we will. We have enough experience and talent on this team that we're not going to hang our heads. The group now is in good spirits. We know we have a tough game this weekend, but making a few adjustments, and our past few sessions have been really good, and we're feeling really confident going into the game. So again, tough place to play, probably the best team in the league right now. But again, we see ourselves up there. Have we been there in the past few games? No, but that's where we want to end up. So it starts away this weekend to try and get there.
Yeah, using last week as kind of a launch pad of sorts. What do you expect from Charleston, and how are you going to deal with that over the weekend?
Yeah, they're a little bit different than Louisville, but still, again, the past few seasons they've been one of the best in the league. So they're going to have quality on the ball. They have some good players. Obviously, they got Mark Handick, who's got 11 goals so far, which is crazy. So putting a limit on him, and just, I think the past kind of few games, we've played San Antonio, we've played Louisville. I think we've adjusted to them. I think we have to go there and we have to take it to them. We can't shy away because we're playing away, and because they're top of the league. We have to go in there and make them adjust to us, and that's kind of what we've been working on this week. Being the protagonist in the game, and that's what we're going to do.
You mentioned that being kind of the protagonist, having that pop out of the gate. First couple of games of the season, that was really there against Birmingham, against Miami. Last couple of games, not so much. What's been the change there? What's kind of led to that, and how do you get back to that?
Yeah, I think. I guess it kind of started with the Open Cup. Obviously, had a few injuries, just a few lineup changes. We kind of just got out of a rhythm a little bit, so just haven't really been our full strength in ourselves. So I think now we're trying to get back to basics, get focused back and hone in on what made us successful. And that's what we've been doing this week. So kind of just lost our way a little bit, and that hasn't been through anything. I think it's just the games have been coming, and we just needed to kind of rehash our kind of starting points and what made us at the first part of the season.
As someone who's sort of been there before, how do you view your role in the team as kind of helping through this point and sort of getting back to, as you said, winning ways?
Yeah, again, I've been in the game for quite some time, and I've played at various levels, and again, these things happen in football. One bad kind of loss that you feel like you kind of take it harder than others can kind of lead to a week or two period where you're not getting results, and kind of disrupts the balance of the team and stuff like that. So it's important to just not take your lows too low, but also not get too high when we win. We should be a club now with the quality we have. After we get a win, that should be we shouldn't celebrate too much, because that should be an expectation for us now. And again, when we lose and have tough games, we can't get too down on ourselves. So that's kind of what I've been telling the guys, after the San Antonio loss. It was the same thing. It's like, be disappointed and have some self-reflection, but don't, there's always another game. And especially now coming into the summer months, games are going to be coming out very fast. So the best thing to do after a loss is to get back out there. So that's what we're looking forward to this weekend. And that's good.
All right.
Cool. Thanks, Joe.
All right, cool, guys.
So much.
Appreciate it.
No worries. So obviously it was a string of tough results for the team. As a veteran, how do you kind of help lead them through this? How do you deal with it, and what's the team looking like in training this week?
It's been a good week of training, to be honest. Obviously, it's been kind of a reset week, just to kind of revisit some of the stuff that we've been working on throughout preseason. Getting our principles right again. Somewhat of a different shape, different system going into the game this weekend. And I think the energy has been good, despite the string of bad results, and obviously coming off a very disappointing loss last weekend. I think the coaching staff, along with the players, the attitude, the spirits have been good, and we've come out with the right mentality each and every day this week. Knowing that we're going against a team who sits at the top of the table right now, a very good team. They're playing well, but that doesn't change, what we're trying to do, what we're trying to accomplish, and that's to go down there and get a positive result.
And what has to change from last weekend in order for that to happen?
Energy, our effort as a group, from back to front to back. And obviously a couple of things tactically as well that we've been working on just to kind of eliminate some of those errors and mistakes that we had in the last game. It wasn't just the last game, it was also the 2 games before that, because it was 3 losses in a row. So I think we're all in good spirit, we're all committed, we're all bought in. It's been a good week of training, to be honest, and hopefully we can keep that energy and that momentum going into the weekend.
You had a couple of years in Charleston early in your career, so there were 25 goals, I think, in 2 seasons. What's it like heading back there now? Obviously, you've been back a few times with other clubs, too.
It's been good. It's always good going back. The reception that I get from the fans, familiar faces, people that I've, built relationships with and worked with in my time there. It's always good to go back and, obviously compete at a high level against, even players that I played with, even though I think it's probably only one player right now. So, it's always good to go back. Charleston's a place that, obviously hold near and dear to my heart. I was there early in my career. That's where the grassroots kind of started for me in terms of my professional career. Having the success that I had there, building, very good relationships and, getting to know that community and the people around there. So it's always been love, and, I'm excited and looking forward to it.
And since then, you've been around. You played in USL, you played in MLS, you played abroad. How does that experience serve you coming through this rush? Right? You mentioned that energy, needing to get back, get through this run of bad results, and get back to positivity. How does that serve you and serve the team?
It has done wonders for me, to be honest. I was sharing, a story with a couple of the guys after the loss. Just like I've been in situations where we've come out teams that I've been a part of. We've had disappointing losses. When I was in Atlanta, we started the year away to Houston. We lost 4-1 on the road. Last game of the season against Toronto, we lost 4-1 again. But then we still went on to win a championship that year in Atlanta. So Charleston, the team that we're up against this weekend, they lost 7-0 last year. They went to the final. They didn't win it, but I don't think the team that we are last weekend or the team that we are now, obviously I don't think that's a team that we're going to look like come August, September, October, November, when we're trying to make a push at the end of the day. But I feel like it's all an opportunity for us to learn and get better. And my experience, I just try to share that with the guys. I know the message can always be, oh, we need to win, we need to win, we need to win. But I think the biggest thing is get a positive result. Get a result out of the game, get that feel-good factor going again in the group, and then take that confidence into a home game next weekend against Colorado. But obviously, we're not looking that far ahead. We know what's ahead of us. We're focused on Charleston right now, and the job is for us to go down there as a group and just execute.
Cool. Thanks, Romario. Thanks. Obviously, a pretty tough string of results for the team. Just wondering, in the middle of sort of a really tough stretch, how the team has bounced back mentally, how the week of training has been, and what you thought about practice today.
They'll answer that this weekend, how they bounce back. Obviously, Louisville was a focal point of a difficult stretch. San Antonio, I thought we could have taken a point out of very fairly, and we didn't. But we always knew this was going to be a difficult stretch very early in a rebuild. And, I look at the Charleston team we're playing this weekend, and they lost 7-0 last year and 4-0 a couple weeks later. And, you go through these ups and downs in a rebuild. So I'm not going to make any excuses for who was on the field or who wasn't. We were nowhere near good enough. Our effort was nowhere near good enough. Our attention to detail was nowhere near good enough. But that starts and stops with us as a staff.
Yeah, obviously some pretty ups and downs that happen with something like this. And in that 7-day span where you played a very good team and now you're going to play another very good team in the league, what sort of short-term changes do you make there, maybe tactically or just in terms of what you've changed to try and get a result?
Yeah, I think, one is just the effort piece. We can't be scared. We were scared last weekend. We looked scared. We were late to everything. We just kind of got put in a wash cycle by a really good team. So you look for personnel to come back into the picture, and some of our veterans haven't played a minute yet this season. You look for them to come into the picture at some point soon. But the reality is just if the energy and attention to detail and effort isn't there, there's only so much we can change to move us forward.
How's that looking? I know beginning of the season dealing with a lot of injuries. It seems like some guys have started to make their way back. I mean, in terms of putting your best 11 on the field, where are you in that process right now?
We're getting really close. Yeah, we're getting really close. And then we're going to have to find the right combinations because I do think we'll be 14 or 15 deep of guys that could realistically end up being in our locked-in 11. But we've been nowhere near our locked-in 11, and that's why our results have seesawed a little bit. So again, early in a rebuild, no panic, but that result was unacceptable. That was too much in too many different departments.
Heading down to Charleston, obviously you already mentioned they had a rebuild last year. This year they've added to that, right? They brought in Aaron Malloy, one of, if not the best players in the league. Nick Marhanek has been on fire to start the season.
Yeah.
How do you approach that specifically, especially some of the talent they have?
That should be fun for us. That should be fun for us in the early stage. We're 4 months into a massive rebuild, probably a bigger one than they had to go through. In a lot of ways because ours had lasted multiple years. But if we don't see some of these opportunities against big teams, then we have concerns and we have to make changes. But I think the group will respond this week. I genuinely do, and I do think we're getting healthier closer to mid-season. I've never dealt with 9 injuries in preseason, and 6 of them being long-term. That's not a thing I've dealt with before, so we've had to be really patient with each other. And I will say, everyone around the club has been really patient. And look, at the end of the day, we dealt with 9 injuries early, and we're 3-3. So we took one whopper of a bad result, but the reality is we're 3-3 and right on track.
In terms of the injuries, I mean, one of the bigger profile injuries is Renan, who seems like he is getting there. I mean, just wondering if you have any update on his process and when we might be able to see him feature.
Yeah, he's close enough, and he might feature this weekend.
Any other guys? I know Jordan has also kind of been in that boat too.
Yep.
A lot of people are really looking forward to being able to
Yeah, Marlon, those were his first minutes in over a year. And we have a couple other guys in that boat. So we're going to continue to be a little bit of a seesaw team. So we have to do what we can to prepare the guys emotionally and physically to go through those hurdles, because they're going to hit walls here over the next couple of weeks. But if we don't push them on the field, they can't experience that, and they're not going to be here for us in September when we need them for a playoff push.
And we talked to Jay, Rom, some of the veteran guys in this group. How important has presences like the veteran guys you have in this group been in terms of having been in these situations before and kind of helping the team navigate through these stretches? Yeah,
Joe Farrell stands out to me as a guy who's been at or near the top of the league with 3 different organizations before here, and you see it in the way he responded this week. He was out for a couple days himself, injured, and he's just constantly positive and looking for solutions. And they know that we have a good enough locker room. They know that we're set up well enough tactically, and we prepare well enough each week to win every week, no matter where we go in the league. But it's not all going to come together with 20-odd new guys in a locker room in 6 weeks. It just doesn't work that way.
Thanks, Brendan.
All right.
Thanks so much.
Thanks, guys.